Hey everybody, today I am out near Monterey, California, taking a look at Alfa Romeo's newest small crossover in the United States. This is the all-new Alfa Romeo Tonale. It is designed to slot below the Stelvio in the Alfa Romeo lineup and logically compete with the BMW X1, the X2, Mercedes GLA, GLB, etc. Although style-wise, this probably is much better of a corollary to the BMW X2 because this is certainly very style-forward, just as you'd expect from Alfa Romeo. It's also previewing some new Alfa Romeo design elements that we're going to see in other models coming soon around the world, like this tri-module headlight arrangement that is definitely very distinctive. We still have, of course, the classic Alfa Romeo grille right there with the Alfa Romeo logo right in front. And it sort of looks like a scale version of the Stelvio from some angles, but when you really get up close, you'll notice that this definitely has a different and more fresh design to it that we're going to see in other models again. I love how the sheet metal curves around and then tucks in with these headlights right there like that. Now, moving around the side, you will find a slightly longer overhang up front because this is not a rear-wheel drive Alfa. This will be the first all-wheel drive transverse engined Alfa in America. Of course, there have been transverse engined Alfas around the world. Now, this particular model is a European spec vehicle, but a lot of the really cool accents we're going to get here. So if you come in close, you can see this little Italian flag right here inside the turn signal repeater in the side view mirror. I love that little touch right there. This particular trim is the Speciale Trim, and apparently this is going to be approximately the corollary of the TI trim in the United States. Moving completely around to the side, you can see that this definitely has a style to it that is not boxy like we find in the BMW X1. So no sort of mini people carrier styling here. We have a swooping rear style line, definitely an interesting shape back here that really mimics what we see in the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Now, a lot of this is going to be shared with the American market Dodge Hornet as well, but probably shouldn't talk about that since we're at an Alfa Romeo event. Down here, we have some very unique wheels. These are really one of my favorite wheels in the segment. I don't know about you, but I love this sort of circular horseshoe theme that we see in a lot of Alfa Romeo wheels. We are apparently getting these in the United States. 235 40R20 tires and wheels on this particular model, and a really interesting independent suspension in the rear. Chapman strut in the rear, McPherson strut up front. Continuing around the back, we have a continuous light strip with the same sort of little scalloped theme that we had going on up front. If I try and open this hatch, let's see what's inside. See, we have a pretty big cargo area here for an entry in this segment, although the sides do pinch in a little bit. This is likely due to the crash structure design of the vehicle that we have kind of this section right there, but it looks to be pretty large and practical. Let's go under the load floor. You can see that we do have room for a spare tire. That's something that we don't find in a lot of the European competition. This model has a little foam divider right there, but I suspect you could put a compact spare under there if you wanted to, or you could use it for additional storage space. And this load floor drops to a second load height, so you can use even more of that storage area. 60/40 folding rear seats, but there's a ski pass-through back there. Now let's take a look under the hood. Under the hood in the United States, you will not find this engine. This is, again, a European spec model. In the US, it's going to start with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine producing over 250 horsepower. We don't have the final horsepower specs just yet for the Tonale. However, the interesting drivetrain, the one that I think a lot of folks are going to want, is the optional plug-in hybrid system. It's based around a 1.3-liter 4-cylinder engine, a just over 15 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack in the rear, located under the rear seats, and that's going to give the Tonale over 280 horsepower, the quickest 0 to 60 time, and it's going to give you about 30 miles of all-electric range. We don't have any fuel economy estimates yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it also managed to give you 30 miles per gallon combined or somewhere thereabouts. What's really interesting is that there's a lot of plug-in hybridness going on in the next segment up. We have the Lexus NX plug-in hybrid, the XC60 plug-in hybrid, and in Europe, tons of plug-in hybrids from other manufacturers. But in this segment, we don't have any, oddly enough. Instead, we just have some electric models like the upcoming GLB electric and the Volvo XC40 electric, but no plug-in hybrids like we find here in the Tonale. So if you want the security of a gas tank to get you 300, 400, 500 miles of range a day, plus some plug-in hybrid range so that way you can cut your gasoline usage in the city, this might be an excellent option for you. Now let's take a look on the inside. Now, clearly I haven't been able to spend much time in this Alfa, but the seat does appear to be pretty comfortable, and I like the seating position in here. It's upright, but it has a sporty vibe to it. The seat is not as adjustable as some. We don't have an extending thigh cushion, but we do have a 4-way lumbar support and a manual tilt telescopic steering column with a pretty decent range of motion. In this particular trim, it doesn't look like the front passenger seat has the same range of motion, but Let me go ahead and adjust this seat. Let's see what it's like to hop in the back. Go ahead and open the door here. Bear in mind, this is in a size category closer to an X1, X2, something like that, than an X3, but there is plenty of room back here. I have about 3-4 inches of room right behind that front seat. This is somewhat of a segment buster, I guess you could say, because it's not really as small as some of the really small luxury crossovers in the US, but it's definitely not as big as something like a Lexus NX. You'll certainly notice that in the middle seat back there in the rear. Now let's take a spin around the interior. On the inside of this model, it does not have a moonroof. I suspect one will be available. Moving around the interior, reasonable number of high-quality parts. You can see the Alfa logo right there on that headrest. This seat definitely has a very European design with some pretty aggressive bolstering there. I love the look in here. Moving over to the dashboard, lots of soft touch materials, but some interesting material choices. For instance, the texture of this upper section is not the same as this midsection or the armrest, but everything has a premium and soft feel to it, including the dashboard sections. Again, that two sort of texture thing going on. This is a very early pre-production model, so I suspect that some of these details are not quite production accurate. And this is not an American market vehicle, keep that in mind. Soft touch stitched materials here in the middle of the dash, it's soft touch injection molded above. We then have real metal trim here, and it has ambient lighting under it. It's a little bit difficult to see, but there's actually light shining through that panel in the dashboard. We have the latest Uconnect 5 touchscreen system here in the center of the dash. A lot of people have given Alfa some problems, I guess some shit you'd say, for having an infotainment system that wasn't as modern, wasn't as snappy as some. That's all been solved by using Uconnect 5. Basically the same software that we see across a number of different Stellantis brands. Below this, we have the controls for the dual zone automatic climate control. And some of the benefits of this system are that, we have climate control settings up here in the infotainment system as well. Supports CarPlay as you'd expect and Android Auto. Down here, we have the typical DNA selector. That's the drive mode selector basically for this vehicle. 12-volt power port, some USB inputs, large storage area right there with a Qi wireless charging mat. Pretty traditional console shifter there, little Italian flags, kind of a nice touch right there. Electric parking brake, two big cup holders. One of the things that I like is that the Italians, in a way that the Germans haven't, kind of understand that Americans like cup holders. So these appear to be pretty big and pretty deep. Then in the center, we have this padded armrest with a pretty small storage area. Moving over to the driver's side, we have a full LCD instrument cluster. This appears to be standard. Again, some of the details aren't really known. And it's nestled inside this very sort of, I guess Kermit the Frog-like binnacle here with these two bulges on either side. Behind the steering wheel, we have quite simply the best paddle shifters available in this segment. You can see they're huge. They go from down there all the way to up there. They also have a laser cutout for the plus and minus icons on the shifters. And they're magnesium, they're metal shifters. They feel absolutely excellent, but they don't move with the steering wheel, which is my preference. They're stuck right there on the steering column. All the buttons and switches in here are either shared with other Alfa models or they're unique to the Tonale. Moving over here to the left of the steering column, you might be able to better see that ambient lighting strip right there inside that trim module. I'm really excited to see how the Alfa Romeo Tonale drives out on the road. We don't have performance specifications for this in the United States yet, but it is closely related to the Dodge Hornet, and Dodge has released some specifications. So I suspect this is probably going to be 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds with the plug-in hybrid, probably about 6.5 with the standard 2-liter turbo. It appears that all-wheel drive is also going to be standard, which is really going to make this a good value. I wouldn't be surprised if the price tag on this started somewhere around $35,000 or so. Obviously, again, lots of details yet to go, but that would put this right in the meat of the growing segment in the luxury car group, which is the subcompact crossover segment. This is where we see the BMW X1 and X2 really succeeding, the Volvo XC40, etc. I think it's really a great size also because compact luxury crossovers are just not as compact as they once were, and this is going to slot right in there to where a BMW X3 used to be. Anyway, hit the subscribe button, let me know what you think about all that down there in the comment section below, and of course, find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those other social places. See all of you later.